It's the Adventureland Moms Podcast with your guides, Becca and Michaelyn.
Episode 2. Yay! All right. So today, before we get started, I wanted to talk for a minute about Hurricane Matthew, because today, the day we are recording this, Disneyland is not Disneyland, Disney World. Disney World is closed.
Can you imagine Disneyland closed for the hurricane?
Oh my gosh. But yes, Disney World is closed today, and Disney Springs was closed until I think like 3 or 4 or sometime around then. They opened up for the resort guests so they could escape their rooms that they had been banned to, their rooms and their hotels. Yeah. But anyways, my thoughts and prayers, and I'm sure yours too, are with everyone affected by Matthew, because Haiti especially. We don't know the aftermath of all of the United States yet, but I have a rant. And I hate to rant about this.
Do it.
So I've followed a lot of people that were in Walt Disney World, some that chose to come home early, and some that chose to ride it out. And here's my rant. The people that were saying how Walt Disney World totally overreacted because it didn't hit Orlando as hard as they thought it was going to. You know, they thought it was going to be pretty bad there. And I think they got some people posted. Now, I don't know if this is accurate. This is just what people there were posting on Facebook. So I haven't checked the Weather Channel or anything like that for accuracy. But they got 30-mile-per-hour winds, which you can get that almost anywhere from a regular storm. They got some rain, but it wasn't a ton. And people were really actually putting how Disney totally overreacted. I'm mad about that because hurricanes are unpredictable. Nobody knew how it was going to come in, and Disney did the right thing.
I agree.
They erred on the side of caution, which they should have done. And also, all of Orlando was under a curfew. It wasn't like it was Disney World's decision to put this curfew in place, you know. So if it had gone the other way, where Disney World had not made a big deal out of it and then it had hit super hard, people would be singing a completely different tune. So that is my vent.
Agreed. I mean, I think it's always better to err on the side of caution, especially when you're a company as big as Disney, who has as many employees and visitors as they do. I mean, no one wants to see anybody hurt, you know. No one wants that kind of situation, especially, you know, not from a business sense, but, you know, I mean, no one wants to get hurt. No one wants to see people hurt, and no one wants to, you know, feel like they were responsible for that. So I definitely agree that Disney did the right thing by, you know, erring on the side of caution and keeping everybody safe. And from what I hear, I think a lot of the hotels did a good job entertaining all their guests and, you know, trying to do the best they can under the circumstances. And I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as it was originally predicted to be in Orlando. But I mean, there are a lot of areas, like you said, like Haiti, that were really hit. I mean, really bad. So, I mean, again, our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected.
So, moving on.
Moving on.
Today, I wanted to just have us continue sharing some stuff that will help anyone that's watching, or if you're on iTunes listening, get to know us just a little bit better. So, both of us kind of did something this year that was a little out of the ordinary for us. And so I want us to talk about those two things. And Michaelyn, you did the 4 parks in 1 day challenge. Oh my goodness, at Walt Disney World. So
I made it out alive.
So I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about that and how you fit 4 parks in 1 day, and like what rides did you do, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we did the 4 parks in 1 day. Probably the only reason I was able to do it is that I did not have the kids with me. I went with a friend of mine. So we just, you know, we went there and we were adults about it. We went there and we had a plan and we executed the plan and everything went smoothly. There were no dirty diapers to change that would make us deviate from our plan at hand. Because, like kids, they have a way of derailing all of your well thought out plans. But yeah, so we had a great time. We started out really early in the morning. We opened up Animal Kingdom, which is where we started. We went straight to Expedition Everest and went on that. And I had yet to go on that, and neither had my friend. So it was our first time on that, and it was so fun. It was the best way to start the day, really. It was just, just such a great ride. And I love Animal Kingdom. I know it gets a bad rap from a lot of people, but I love Animal Kingdom. I think it's just a really creative park. But anyway, so it was back to the whole plan was we hit that, and then we went over to the dinosaur land. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at Disney World, but we went over and we did the dinosaur ride. And after that, we hit the Lion King show because we felt like you needed a theater show somewhere in your day. So that's our route. We did that. We went in, we went out. The park opened at 9 that day. We were out by 10:30. So, yeah, we were quick. And then from there, we headed to Hollywood Studios. Basically, Hollywood Studios, we didn't have too much of a plan, but it started raining when we got there. So we just kind of got in and went directly to the right. And that's where we hit the Tower of Terror and the Rock and Roller Coaster, which is my favorite roller coaster ever. That was the first time I've been on it again, and that was amazing. So if you haven't been on it, go on it. It's amazing. But yeah, we hit those two, and we were going to do Star Tours, but we decided we wanted to get going because we had stopped for a snack. Because we didn't eat breakfast. We just hit the ground running. We woke up a little late that morning, and we just left the hotel. I did not get my Mickey waffles, and I was really upset about that. I was really upset. You can ask my friend. I was like dying the whole way to Animal Kingdom. I was like, I missed my Mickey waffle. We were starving. We got a snack still in that same like area. That is the only area we hit of Hollywood Studios. So we were moving. We were trying to be quick, but we ended up catching the boat. Oh, we took the bus from Animal Kingdom to Hollywood Studios. And then we took the boat to from Hollywood Studios to Epcot because we wanted to do each mode of transportation. We wanted to hit the boat and the bus and the monorail. So we did it all. So we got the boat, but we had just missed the boat. So we had to wait a long time for the boat to come back and get us. And then the boat takes a long time to get there. So if you're in a time crunch, don't take the boat from Hollywood Studios to Epcot. And basically we were like, okay, this is going to be a great time to rest. And then we'll hit Epcot and we'll like run around the World Showcase and it'll be awesome. We had a long time to sit and rest on the boat on the way to Epcot. So we were exhausted and starving and getting a little hangry. So we basically got off the boat and it dumps you kind of by Canada and like France or in what is it, England and France? Somewhere around that area, it dumps you. So we got off and it was during the Flower and Garden Festival when we were there in April. So there were a whole bunch of booths around and we stopped at the booths and grabbed one of the beer flights and we shared that. And then we went over to the refreshment port in Canada or right before Canada, one of the two. It's over there. And we grabbed a cronut and we pretty much just sat there and ate. And that was like our trip to Epcot. We really just sat and ate and drank and just sat there because we were already so tired from all the running around and everything. We were already taxed and we weren't anticipating being that exhausted yet. So we wasted a lot of time sitting there, but we felt like we had to ride something on the way out. And if we were going to ride something at Epcot, it was going to be the golf ball. So we rode the golf ball because apparently people from Disneyland are only allowed to call it the golf ball ride. So yes, we rode the golf ball ride. And after we rode the golf ball ride, I've now alienated about half of our audience. You're welcome. Half of our audience of like 2. But anyway, so we got off the ride and we went to the monorail, and we hit the monorail and went to Magic Kingdom, which is what we wanted to do. We wanted to end with Magic Kingdom so we could hit the nighttime shows there, and spend most of our day there. It was probably around 5:30-ish that we got to Magic Kingdom. So, I mean, we had a huge part of the night still. We did like everything you could want to do there. We met Mickey, we met Tinkerbell. We went and ate lunch, which ended up being like breakfast, lunch, dinner, but we called it lunch. But we rode like all the rides. We went to each of the roller coasters except for Big Thunder Mountain because it was closed for a hot minute when we got there. But Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, we of course hit that, and that was amazing still. I went on that the last time with my kids and they loved it, but they were pretty mad at me that I went on it without them. They were also mad that I went to Disney World in general without them, but you know, that's okay. But that was my day. That's how we laid it out. We closed Magic Kingdom. We were there. We watched the Main Street Electrical Parade on our way somewhere else. It was, you know, we were running somewhere else again, and then we saw the fireworks, and it was all kind of, it all came together, even though Magic Kingdom wasn't planned out quite as well as our other plans were. It all really fell together, because on your way other places, you tend to cross the path of the parade and you can see the fireworks from just about anywhere in the park if you just look up. We were in New Fantasyland for the fireworks, and there's actually this old man there who was so sweet, and his son, I guess, works on the fireworks. So he's out there a lot, and he's out there he's like, okay, now everyone turn around. And so everyone turns around, and then the fireworks are over here. And he's like, okay, now look to your left. And we're just, okay, like, where are we looking next? Like, oh, this is so cool. So he was directing us as to where to look and what's going to happen. And it was really kind of cool. But like I said, everything worked out. We were exhausted, sore, and, you know, just completely spent by the end of the day. But I mean, we did a good job, Magic Kingdom. Epcot kind of fell apart. That was kind of our day where we were, the point in the day where we were like, just, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I can make it anymore. Picked ourselves up by the bootstraps and off we went. But it was great. Highly recommended. If you're going to do it with an adult or an older child. Don't bring the kids in the diapers because you won't make it to all 4 parks. You just won't.
So did you guys utilize Fast Pass Plus or anything, or did you just totally wing it?
The thing about the Fast Pass Plus is that we were only there for 1 day, and we actually were there on media tickets. So thank you, Disney. So we didn't have our tickets ahead of time. We picked them up that morning. We did not utilize them up until we got to Magic Kingdom. When we got there, we got a few. They didn't really help us out very much because they weren't for the big ticket rides. But if you are there and you are unable to get fast passes for the big ticket rides, like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, if you go there right before it closes, it's like a 5-minute line. If like right before it closes, like 5 minutes before the park is closing, they'll let you on the ride if you're in the queue. So get there, get on the ride, and, you know, have a good time.
For anyone that is a Disneyland person and thinking, oh, well, I go back and forth between Disneyland and Disney California Adventure and Downtown Disney all day long. Just remember, Disney World is way different. It's a lot bigger. The parks are not, 100 yards away from each other like they are at Disneyland. It's a big journey to get from one park to another sometimes, and to hit 4 parks in 1 day. And especially, Epcot was probably crowded, I'm sure. And so, that's a big task. So
it was crazy, but well worth it. So
I'll have to go with you one day so we can do it. All
we'll
right.
start planning our trip now.
Yeah. So you did your 4 parks in one day, and here I am. I have not been to Disneyland in officially a little over a year.
I still can't believe it.
We have made it a full year. So, and I know before I get into this, I know there are people that never get to go to Disneyland in their life. And I know that how often my family goes to Disneyland isn't the normal. And I feel very blessed that we go so often. But my family went 2 to 3 times a year from the time we had our first son. So starting in 2011, we started going 2 to 3 times a year. Yeah. And our last trip was in September, October. It was at the end of September through the beginning of October of 2015. That trip, we decided we needed to take some time off from Disney. Part of it was because we noticed that our oldest was kind of becoming a little entitled when it came to Disney, because we went so often. He threw fits when we decided to leave last night because it was a Halloween party night and it was a Friday night. So we went over, we didn't have tickets to the party, so we went over to California Adventure, which was super crowded because all the locals were there and everyone had gone over to that park if they didn't have the Halloween party tickets. And we were still they still had a few fast passes for rides. So we'd earlier in the day, we'd gone and gotten Radiator Springs Racers fast passes. And so we'd come back that evening to do that. And we were doing Soarin', and we'd gotten fast passes for Tower of Terror. And we decided to leave before that because we still had an hour and 20 minutes, I think, before our ride time. And he started throwing a fit. And we're like, look, it's so crowded. Even like the Bugs Land rides had, 45-minute waits, which is unheard of. It was just awful. And it was so crowded, like you couldn't find a seat anywhere. And the twins were only 6 months old at the time. But he threw a fit the whole way we walked from Disneyland to the Mickey and Friends parking lot. And he threw a fit the whole way. Screaming, crying. People on the trams were looking over going, what is going on with this kid? We had a minute where he got that trip. We weren't really buying souvenirs. We don't buy a lot of souvenirs, but he got something nobody else did because he had outgrown his Mickey ears, the toddler size ones. He'd finally outgrown them. So I got him the regular use size. And he was like, this is it. This is all I got. And it was just, he was becoming very entitled. And so we decided we need to take some time off. And so at the beginning of 2016, I wrote a post called 5 Reasons We Won't Go to Disneyland This Year. I don't remember if I put in my son's attitude as one of them. But there were a lot of reasons. I mean, it's good to take a step back and go see what else there is to do and all this other stuff. Well, and that was our plan, not at all in 2016. And then in April, we thought we were going to have the chance to review a hotel. It kind of fell through. Some things happened. But at that point, we're like, I don't know if we can take the calendar year. How about we say we'll go till a year after our last day there. And so then we were like, oh, we're going to go at the end of October. Well, now we have a family member that's not doing very well and we need to be spending time with family. So it looks like we are going to do our original plan of no Disney in 2016. So, but yeah, so it's been a different year for us because even with my pregnancy with twins, and I got put on bed rest at the beginning for some complications. And then of course at the end with twins, you're not going to be traveling to Disneyland for sure. I still managed to go 3 times in the year that I got pregnant with the twins before I got pregnant. And then we went 2 times in the year that the twins were born. So, I mean, we go a lot. But we took that year off. And the whole plan was we were going to do all these other fun trips. And then we had our worst vacation ever that we took, where we were supposed to go to Portland and eventually drive down the coast, go through the redwoods. It was gonna be great, and it went to crap the very first day. And that's a long story, but I'll put a link if you're on YouTube watching this. I'll put a link in the description box to a post I did about this vacation going to crap. That was our whole plan but it's been good for us, I think, to remember that Disneyland is supposed to be a treat and not everyone gets to go all the time. And but it did also make me see when I was planning like our Redwood trip and everything that people over exaggerate how expensive and how, that kind of stuff on Disney. Because I'm going to be honest, our Redwoods trip was going to be as expensive as a Disneyland trip by the time we were done. So I think, and I know that 2 of my kids are free still, so that makes a big difference. But when you're looking at Disneyland or, another trip, and it's like sometimes when you're a Disney freak, it's it's like, well, they're the same price. I'm just going to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, but we learned a lot, and I don't know when in 2017 we'll go to Disneyland. But we're going to, because our twins are still free. So we will be going next year. Because once we start paying for our twins, I don't know how often we'll get to go. So
welcome to my world.
That was our little experiment. And like I said, I know a lot of people don't get to go even once in their life. So I know we're really lucky. But for us, it was a big thing to take that full year. Now, year and a half. It's probably going to end up being close to almost 2 years probably by the time we get back because of school schedule. So that was a big thing for us. And I still plan imaginary Disney trips every single day, hoping that we'll be able to go down.
What other kind of trips were you going to plan on doing this year? I mean, I know that the Redwoods trip was a big one, but what other kind of things were you?
So we just wanted to do like some little trips. Like we wanted to go over to Yellowstone, which didn't quite work out. My sister's over there, but she's had some health things going on, and then she moved a couple times, so we haven't been able to get over there. So we wanted to go to Yellowstone, but the big one was we were going to Portland for my niece who is getting married, and then we were going to go to Tillamook, which we did go over to Tillamook to do the cheese factory, but we didn't stay there. Then we were going to go down to Newport, Oregon, and hit all the aquariums, and then we were going to go down and do the redwoods and everything, and then we were going to swing up and see Michaelyn on the way home. And so we didn't get to do that. And then we were just thinking like lots of little trips, to go do we did do a lot of hiking this year. So we didn't get to, we started hiking to prepare for the redwoods, and we never did the redwoods, but we did a lot of hiking. So we did a lot of that. And we've gone up to see my husband's family a lot more this year. They're 5 hours north of us, and that's been good. So yeah, we had those things planned, and then it was also just a year to save money because we kind of have this idea of a trip we want to do next year, and if it works out I'll share it, but I'm not going to share it now because it might not work out. Questions. So before I do the questions I have here, if anybody has a question for us, even though I know we have like 2 viewers.
Hi, both of you.
Leave it down in the comments if you're on YouTube, and we'll try and answer it next time. But so I'm trying to find where these questions are. So give me just 1 second because I am totally unprepared.
Take your time. Got all the time in the world.
Let's see. Okay, so first question was someone in the We Love Our Disney Facebook group asked us to talk a little bit about Christmas at Disneyland, like some tips for that. So you're the Christmas at Disneyland guru between the 2 of us. So I will let you give tips for that first, and then I'll give my tips.
Okay. Hard to do because overall general tips are probably pretty similar. If you want to hit a parade and you want it to be the Christmas fantasy parade, you're going to have to get there really early and stake out a spot because all the locals like to get there. Try to go midweek if you can, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're just going to be stuck with all of the locals and the crowds because they're off work, they're there, and they want to see the parade too. And, I used to be a local, so more power to you locals. You're wonderful. We love you. But you do tend to stake out the good spots. So if you want a spot, you got to stake it out early. But most of the Christmas tips that I would have are probably pretty general. I'll give you a specific one for Santa, because Santa used to be in the ranch area, which is now closed for Star Wars. And I used to love his little area over there, but now that he is gone and he is now relocated over to, Critter Country, the little poo area back there, I say skip Santa at the parks because the line will be long, and go see him at one of the hotels. If you call the lobbies, they will let you know what time Santa will be there so you can plan your trip, because obviously Santa can't be in more than one place at once. So he goes from hotel to hotel. So you can kind of follow him around, and you get a nice tree with the ornaments, the seashell ornaments, and a nice under the sea type theme going on at the Paradise Pier Hotel. Grand Californian is gorgeous, but it is a little dark. So if you have issues with your camera lighting and taking pictures where it's a little bit darker, you might not want to see him there. And the Disneyland Hotel has a pretty classic setup that I love for Santa. So that would be my suggestion, is to wait and go see him at the hotels and spend your time in the parks doing other Christmas things. So.
All right. Yeah. My suggestion is not one that everyone can do, but my suggestion is to go either at the beginning of November or the very beginning of December because the crowds are way less. We went we went a few years ago, and we went November 8th was the first day we were in the parks because that was my birthday, so I remember. And we went through like the 15th or something. So we were there a few days before the official start of the holiday season at Disneyland. But it was still all decked out. The only thing that wasn't open yet was Small World, but it opened before we left. So we got to do that. But yeah, that's my biggest suggestion, is if you can possibly go either before the week of Thanksgiving or wait till the week after Thanksgiving and that first week of December, that's when you want to go, because the crowds are extremely low because most people are taking off the holidays, and so they're not traveling during those times. And but other than that, yeah, you're gonna have to stick out a seat early, even those weeks for the parade and the fireworks, because the locals do come in, especially those weeks, because their passes aren't blocked. Yep. And so they come in those weeks, and they're locals. They don't have to go do all that other stuff all in one or 2 days. So they have no problem sitting down and staking out a spot for several hours. So you're going to have to do it too if you want a good spot. Or if you want to pay for a VIP tour, then they'll stake out the spot for you. So
there you go. That is a much better idea.
If you have whatever it is, like $300 an hour or whatever, I don't know what it really runs. But.
Yeah. If you guys watching, both of you, would like to pay us to go and watch this thing as VIPs, we're more than willing to do that for you. If you want to pay for us to do it, more than willing to do it for you. For you.
All right. So
it out there, can't hurt.
Yeah. And then of course, at Christmas, it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. And even if you hate It's a Small World normally, I strongly suggest at least doing it once during Christmas time, because it is different, and they are, even though they're playing the same song over and over most of the way through, it's a Small World. It's a different song. It's usually a Christmas song. They mix in It's a Small World.
It's Jingle Bells with like a big thing going. It's
and it's got
build to it.
Yeah, but it's also cool to see the different ways that the different countries have their Christmas set up in the ride. And it's something unique to Disneyland. That and the Haunted Mansion overlay are both unique to Disneyland. Walt Disney World doesn't get them, so those are great to go do. All right, so next question is from a fellow blogger, and this is from Leslie, and she blogs at Trips with Tykes. And Leslie is wanting to know what our thoughts are about the crowds in 2017, if they'll return to normal, which what's normal for Disneyland? She says, well, new normal. Or what we think will happen now that the 60th is over and Star Wars has not opened yet. Star Wars Land. So, do you have any thoughts?
What do I think? I don't think it's going to get any lower. But that's, I mean, my opinion, this is me and my opinion, just watching it over the years, having built to the crowd levels that it is. And in spite of whatever Disney has done with the, the pricing and the pricing changes, just because part of the park, which really wasn't used quite as much anyway, is closed, that's not going to deter people from coming to enjoy the rest of the park, which is a good thing for Disney, and it's a good thing for us that, there's still a lot to see, but I just don't see crowds getting quite so low.
Yeah. Well, and let's not forget the closures, and most of those closures end at the beginning of 2017. Yeah. Like the area that we can be in that's not going to be Star Wars Land, like the Rivers of America and all that stuff, that's going to be back in 2017. So you're going to also have the people coming that want to see Fantasmic because they weren't able to, and want to see the new Rivers of America and how it's mapped out and all that stuff. And then, of course, Disney announced that the Main Street Electrical Parade is coming back. And so I think right there, that is going to bring crowds that may not have come in 2017, that may have waited until Star Wars Land is open. They may be coming now because they want to see that. So,
yeah. Which was a brilliant move, really. I mean, whoever came up with that idea, that was pretty brilliant. Because I mean, that's me. I'm like, I'm there. I don't care when it is. I'm there. I want to see the electrical parade. That's my favorite parade. I love that.
Exactly. So. And I think a lot of people were shocked that they are discontinuing Paint the Night so early, which it will be select nights during the holidays this year, they said. But a lot of people were shocked by that when they announced that. But then they did the announcement a little bit like a week or so later that the Main Street Electrical Parade was coming. And everyone's like, oh, okay, I'm fine with it now.
I'm okay. We're okay with that.
So, yeah, I think that right there, that was a really smart move. It's going to get the crowds that they've been having. They're going to keep them. And then, of course, they reintroduced the Southern California passes that had been discontinued. And
yep.
So right there, it's a lot more expensive. Don't get me wrong. It's where I'm at the point where I asked my friends that live down there, I'm like, well, wouldn't you rather just get the deluxe at the price that you're paying? Yeah. And they said no, because we won't go the days they're blocked out anyways. But they reintroduced that pass, and so now you're going to have people buying that pass again, and that's going to bring in more locals. And I think Disney is making sure that they are keeping people in the parks, and they're looking at it as, okay, if we may have a lot of people that aren't going to come next year because they are waiting for Star Wars Land to open. So let's get our locals back. Let's get those hardcore Disney fans back that want to see that electrical parade. Let's do some stuff to make sure we have people in the parks. They know what will bring people in, and they're going to do it because that's the point of a business. You want people to come to your business.
I am going to say that I'm really happy that they brought back that SoCal Pass, because I really do like it when they're, friendly and catering to a little bit to the locals, because they are the people who've been there since the beginning, who really have grown up with that park. And they love it. They love it dearly. It's nice to see them kind of acknowledging that with the pass. I'm hoping that after Star Wars comes out, that they don't decide to yank that right away. I'd like to see that option remain for SoCal residents. I think it's a nice option. I don't think that the blackout dates that they have, I don't think it bothers the SoCal residents as much. So I think it's a great option for them. As long as they black out the dates that are going to be really impacted by travelers, I think it's okay. I think they should leave it around, and I think it benefit them and kind of go more as like nice goodwill gesture to the locals, because sometimes they feel kind of, left out of Disney's pricing decisions and things like that. So
definitely. And I don't know if there's like what Disney's doing, if there's like a specific number of passes they're going to allow for that, because when they made the announcement they were bringing it back, it did say something. I don't have the wording right in front of me, and I don't remember. I'm just remembering this all of a sudden in my head, that it had something that alluded to the fact that this was either for a limited time or they were going to cut it off after a certain number or something. I don't know if you read it, but I read something that made me think that either they're going to cut it off after a certain number or that they were only going to offer it for a limited amount of time. But I hope it's not true. I hope that was just me interpreting something wrong.
I think I read it the same way, but I'm, fingers crossed. I always allow space for them to change their mind. So.
Exactly.
You never know.
I think that's about all we have time for. Once again, if you are watching on YouTube and you have a question you want us to answer, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe so that you can see all of our podcasts and broadcasts on YouTube. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.